And welcome everybody to an additional episode of the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am your host, Louis Sung, and joining me once again is my good friend Ron Caniff. And a big thank you to our producer Manny Chang for hanging out with us in spite of all the work that he's doing. He still manages to push on through. He's a trooper through and through. So everybody make sure you give him some love in the comments. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into things. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and bring up really quickly that this episode, of course, as always, is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. So, again, like somebody like me who's trying to get into fantasy sports, but I'm not a big fantasy guy. I'm not really good at picking the right guys, knowing who's going to get the most points. That's where Thrive Fantasy comes in. All I have to do is just take a look at what their stats are going to be throughout every single week, and I could just pick the over or under on how well they're going to perform. So all you got to do, choose 10 out of the available 20 players on every contest that Thrive has, and you can win a share of the prize pool based on which contest you choose to enter. You pick 10 of those 20 guys. Thrive is over 140,000 guaranteed in prizes. It was just for week one that they did that. There's more coming along the way. They've awarded over $4 million in prize money already, and every single going on, you just go ahead and take a look. You get on there, you're going to see what's available for you, and you can put a significant sum of cash in your virtual wallet if you can just manage to choose the over or under well. So all you got to do is you go on to the promo code 5fins, or you can follow the link in the description, and you'll be able to go ahead and get up to $100 to match on your deposit the first time you deposit, and you will even receive one free ticket to their $50,000 contest for week 2. So I don't know what else you could ask for. There's really nothing to lose. At the very least, you'll probably get your money back. So really, there's nothing to lose at this point. So go ahead and get on there, download Thrive Fantasy on the app or Play Store, or go to thrivefantasy.com to get started. All right. So with all that said, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Thank you, Mr. Ron Caniff, for jumping on and doing some good stuff here. You went ahead and got the talk going here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. Mr. Caniff was kind enough to give us some comments to work with through his Twitter following. See, I told you were the star of the show, man. I told you. Everybody wants to hear what you have to say. So
definitely not.
Oh yeah,
and
really.
You got me on this damn YouTube show when I got a face for radio, so I don't know how good that is either. But that's
hey, listen, man. You have a talent. You think that all these other, you have a talent. You have a knack. So just roll with it, because you know what. So. And Paul Susky seems to think so too. It's like we got game. Okay, you got game, Ron. You got game. All right. So,
thanks, Paul.
All right. So you basically put it up there. How does everyone see tomorrow's Bills game going? What are the key matchups? What do we need to do to win that game? Just in general, any thoughts that pop in about the game? All right. So before we go ahead and get into it, first I'm going to ask you, Ron. What's your pulse thinking? How's your heart beating about tomorrow's game?
I guess my first thought comes to the fact that I just don't know what we've done to solve our Josh Allen problem. I mean, it really just comes down to that. What is it that we've done differently? I've heard a bunch of different stuff, and people just in general saying to me, well, we got JP now. Well, JP's a second week rookie, so I hope we're not relying on on Jalen Phillips to save the day. I'm just not sure what we've done that's really going to all of a sudden be a difference maker where it wasn't before against Allen. So that's my concern for the game. I do like the fact that I think our offense is still going to be a lot better and different than it was last year. I think that's really, if we're going to win this game, where we're going to win it. I'm not sure defensively it's going to look much different than it has, unless they have some kind of new strategy that they haven't figured out to this point that they're going to employ. I mean, I guess that's always possible. That's really where my big concern is for this game.
Well, so here's the funny thing is that Pittsburgh kind of gave us the blueprint, so to speak.
I don't know if we have the blueprint though.
Well,
they played a lot of zone. We're not a good zone team. We showed that last year. Kansas City did the same thing. Kansas City Kansas City blitzed and played zone, and then Pittsburgh really just rushed forward and played zone. I really don't know what their blitz numbers were. I just don't know that we're a good zone team. We play a lot of man, and as they say, cover zero, where we're just bringing a lot of blitz, and you got to cover your guy, and that seems to work against a lot of teams and quarterbacks, except for whatever reason it doesn't seem to work against Josh Allen, even as good as our secondary is. We'll see. We didn't have Byron Jones at home last year. Remember, he got hurt right at the beginning of the game, and then they had to put a rookie in there, Iggy, and Iggy, they had him follow Diggs all around. Maybe they'll have X follow Diggs this time. Perhaps that could help. I mean, I mean, obviously there's different things they could do. I can't imagine they're going to go in saying, "Oh, we're just going to do what we've always done because that's worked so well." I know they'll do something different. I'm just not sure what it is, and that how much success they'll have because Brian Flores still hasn't beat Buffalo, and we've only beat Josh Allen one time. He's 5-1 against us. The guy just gets up to play us.
And that's the funny thing. I remember I was thinking about that today. I was thinking, has Josh Allen ever lost to us? And I remember
one time.
I remembered.
Yeah, I think it's first game.
I remembered what happened too. It was a deep pass. Charles Clay was wide open in the end zone, and he dropped it.
I mean, he was wide open. There wasn't you could take a picture. There wasn't anybody within 20 yards of Charles Clay, left, right. Obviously not behind him because he was in the end zone, wide open. I remember because we even had had our old school uniform, so we had the old school end zone. I could see that picture. It's ingrained in my head how wide open Charles Clay was. That's
and him falling down to the ground as he failed to catch the football.
Yeah. That's the only reason that we've ever even beat Josh Allen one time. So obviously it makes us kind of due, but I don't know. I don't feel good about, we're due. It's going to be really hot, and we have a rookie in Jalen Phillips. These are the reasons we're going to be. But, we're ignoring the whole offensive side. The offensive side should be different. We're running a different offense. We've definitely got it. We've got a healthy Devontae Parker this time where I don't know that he was ever healthy last year. We've got Wilson now. Obviously, we've got Waddle. I know we had Gesicki last year in the first game against them at home. I don't believe we did in week 17. I think Gesicki was hurt. So it's just different. I mean, it's going to be different on offense, hopefully. That's I think that's where it really has to happen. I don't know that the defensive side is going to look much different.
Well, Cap for Life wants to know. First of all, he's cheering us on. Hello, Cap for Life. Always good to have you watching. So he wants to know, do we start Mike Gesicki tomorrow, and do we beam down Captain Kirk? Okay, so as far as Gesicki goes, I'm not, again, like I said, that's why I was sponsoring Try Fantasy, because he makes it easy for me. I'm not a fantasy expert. So, I mean, I guess you could argue that since Gesicki was kind of untouched last game, then maybe they'll try to go to him a little bit more, because in preseason, Tua and Gesicki had this thing going. So at least for the brief time they were on the field together. So, I mean, I can't imagine they're just going to ignore him the whole time. I guess it really depends on how much they really think they need the extra blocking from Durham Smythe, because the only time you can really afford to throw Gesicki out there is either A, you're doing two tight ends, and then you're going to have Gesicki doing that, and then Smythe doing his blocking, or you have confidence that the offensive line can hold up. And with the likes of Ed Oliver gunning for Tua, I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit queasy on that whole thing.
Well, I mean, it all depends on what Buffalo's going to do. It seemed like New England's focus was on Gesicki, which left some one-on-one matchups for the wide receivers. So are they going to do that, follow that, employ that same strategy? Or are they going to focus on Devontae Parker? Because right now he's healthy. He's the number one threat on our team offensively. When he's healthy, he's a top 10 wide receiver. I guess it just depends on what Buffalo. I think it really is going to depend on what Buffalo does. Because obviously what's Tua's thing? What's he going to do, especially in this RPO? Quick decision. And throw the ball. Quick decision, throw the ball. Quick decision, throw the ball. So depending on how the look is, right, and who they're going to maybe kind of double cover or what have you, that the ball's going to go to the guy with the throw with the least resistance. I mean, that's what the offense is designed for. So I don't know. I would imagine, I think the attention from Buffalo would go to Parker, because that slant was there all day against New England. They should have done it. They should have done it even more.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm sitting here as we're talking. I've got the Florida Bama game on, and I'm listening to them talk about Bryce Young. He missed a slant to Michi that would have gone to the house. And then they talked about, man, Tua was the best I've ever seen at throwing those slants. That's like, he really is. I was saying that before he was a Dolphin. He's like so good at throwing those slants. He's going to get better at it too. Like some of those slant throws you've seen him throw now aren't even as good as he'll throw them, even though they've been completed.
They just have to run those slants. That's the thing, though. And
they have to run them more. They need to run them more. I mean, I know it's the NFL. You can't run the same play all the time. But
why not? New England's been doing it for years.
That's true. Well, they've run the same.
It's always the same. It's always the same stupid play.
It's the
Everybody's
same philosophy,
the same spot,
but it's different. Yeah, it's different plays. But I know how you feel. But yeah, we'll see. Let's see what Buffalo does. I don't really know. It's just hard to know from game to game who's going to who's going to come open. I'd look for Waddle to have another good game personally. Like if I'm Buffalo, it's like, well, you don't want Gesicki to kill you. You don't want Parker to kill you. Kind of leaves Waddle and maybe Wilson to do something.
Manny is saying thanks, Ron, for reminding me about the UF game. So.
Oh, sorry. I keep my mouth quiet. You guys know I like Bama. We've talked about
that's why I keep my mouth quiet
I keep my mouth quiet on Twitter. I watch all the, when Miami played Bama, the Hurricanes, obviously. I didn't really even say anything during the game or even after. Definitely not before. And this time, I saw a lot of chatter from the Florida guys on Twitter. A lot of chatter, and I'm just like, okay, shaking my head. But I haven't said much. It's just Bama's a really good team. What are you going to do? But anyway, we're not here to talk about Bama. We're here to talk about the Dolphins.
That's why you're like the Tua expert for me. So you know everything. About
definitely
Tua's
not an expert, but I like.
I said the Tua expert because you watched his whole thing from start to finish.
I've seen every single Tua throw that he's ever played in college and pro. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead
and Mac Jones too, but that's gonna end because I'm not gonna be able to watch every Mac Jones throw because I don't go back and watch old games. So so Mac Jones will start to do some stuff at the pros I won't see.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start getting into the tweets here. So first one from Vincent K. Dennis. This game might legitimately come down to whether Jalen Phillips is ready to go as a pro. Steelers played a shell D and rushed 4. Lots of zone. Make him pick his throw before the snap. Flores can scheme to fluster Buffalo. Can the pass rush reach him? All right, so I don't know if Jalen Phillips is the actual star of the show here. Emmanuel Ogbah absolutely abused that backup right tackle of the New England Patriots. So I guess Dante Scarnecchia hasn't managed to work his voodoo magic on him just yet. So that's one good thing that we have. And again, the idea of the pass rush was not getting to Mac Jones. That's not true. It's not that he wasn't getting to him. It's just that the ball came out so fast, they didn't really get an opportunity to actually get to him. And the one time they did get to him, of course, it was called back because, roughing the passer, don't touch the New England quarterback. That's really what it boiled down to because Landon Roberts hit him clean. So the only thing about it is that Jalen Phillips got some pressure. But
he did. He had a nice first game.
The very first play that I noticed, Ron, and this is something that people ignore, is that I saw him pushing his way to the quarterback, and then suddenly another blocker comes in and absolutely just blindsides him from the side. I'm like, okay, what do you want him to do in that scenario here exactly?
Josh House on Twitter, he did a nice cut up of every single Jalen Phillips play. If you want to go back and watch, he actually had a pretty good first game. But I mean, if you go back and watch out what the Steelers did against Buffalo, they were rushing 4, playing zone. We're not a zone team, obviously. Rushing 4, we're more of a blitzing team. It's just what we do well is just different than the way Pittsburgh plays defense. And they were, Melvin Ingram was getting there. It kind of makes me sick because Ingram we had him in Miami. If we wanted to sign him, probably could have. Would have been nice, just saying. But yeah, that didn't happen. But to sit there and watch him, get to Josh Allen, it would be nice. We're gonna have to get to Josh Allen. It's just simple as that, one way or the other. Whether it's blitz and get to him or rush for 4 or whatever the strategy is, they're gonna have to get to him. If they don't get to Allen, it's gonna be another long day. But again, I think this game comes down to our offense. Our offense has to play well. That's what has to happen. I just don't know that it's going to look much difference in our defense versus Allen. I don't think we've found that answer yet, but we'll see tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to bring this up, and I believe I'm going to bring this up really quickly, and I think because it has something to do with one of the comments that was made, because I'm trying to pull it up. I think it was Christian Wilkins who brought up the concept that Josh Allen supposedly has no weaknesses. Well, Copenhagen 08 seems to think he has the answer, or I don't know if it's a he or she. I don't know. I'm not going to assume. So they say that Josh Allen is in his own head about his accuracy. Now he faces his takeaway D. He holds the ball 1 more second tomorrow. If he holds the ball 1 more second, then the pass rush is going to get to him because that 1 more second is really all they needed most of the time against Mac Jones. Now, this is assuming, of course, this has any merit, because if Josh Allen is confident in his own skill, then he's just going to throw the ball. That's not going to be an issue. But I don't know if you watched any of that Pittsburgh game, Ron, because I did not see much of it. Did it look like he was hesitant with his throws facing whatever Pittsburgh was doing to him?
I mean, he was, but the thing I keep coming back to, and I know it just sounds funny, but the problem is Josh Allen is in his own head about his accuracy when he plays Miami, and all of a sudden this guy just thinks he's Drew Brees, morphed into Mike Vick, morphed into John Elway when he plays us. I don't know what it is, but this guy, all the most incredible throws I've seen this guy make over the last 2-3 years have been against Miami. It's just some of the most ridiculously amazing throws that I've seen quarterback throwers when Josh Allen plays against us. I don't know what it is. The guy just, it means something. I mean, he just mentally has this, something just clicks when he plays the Dolphins, and it doesn't really make sense.
It's the Thad Lewis syndrome.
I don't know what it is, but something just clicks when this guy plays us. But under normal circumstances, yes, all of that, I agree with everything, except it never seems to come true when we play this guy. I don't know what the answer is there. I'm really hoping they have the answer. I'm hoping the answer is more offense from us, keeping him off the field, running the ball, scoring touchdowns. A bunch of 3 and outs. We're not going to win this game 17-16. Bunch of 3 and outs aren't going to get it this time. Two good drives aren't going to get it this time. We're going to have to be better than that on offense. Buffalo is going to score points, and Josh Allen is going to figure out how to move the ball on Miami, because he always has before.
Cap for Life wants to bring up that Wilkins needs to step up. If Benito balls over Wilkins, Benito Jones, who he's talking about, we got a problem. Okay, I feel like this is being unfair to Christian Wilkins because he's not producing numbers. He's not producing numbers, Christian Wilkins. Mind you, he didn't produce one number. He was credited with the only sack we got against Mac Jones last week. So this is true. Technically speaking, the sack leader for the team right now is Christian Wilkins. But that being said, Wilkins, if you remember him all the way back in Clemson, and this is what he was touted as back in college, is that Christian Wilkins was not the moneymaker. He was not the guy who rang up the stats. He was the guy who clogged things up and made it so that guys like Clelin Ferrell could make name for themselves. He was the guy who was basically, I don't want to say nose tackle, but I want to say he was the guy who took up other blockers so that these other guys could make plays. And that's exactly what he's been doing. If you watch the game, if you watch the tape, and I'm sure that Alfredo Arteaga has broken it down more times than I can count by now, but if you watch what he's done, he's basically made it so that other players are able to get in there cleanly. It's just that when we face Mac Jones, and the game plan that New England always has, if the ball comes out in 2 seconds, I'm sorry, you'd have to be like a world-class sprinter to be able to get to him in time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I feel like Ogba is the guy. Like, I would like to see, JP get in there and get some shots on Allen. Definitely, we need to be able to get some pressure with 4, but when we blitz, we need to get to him. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, sometimes we'll get some pressure with 4, but we're going to blitz a lot. It's just the way we play defense, and we need to get to him. And I really hope that the plan this time is to have X cover Diggs, not Jones. Now, here's the thing, though. If you go back, I always exclude Week 17 because I just don't think our team, especially offensively, our team was so riddled with injury. It just really wasn't a fair matchup. You still had who was our offensive coordinator last year? Chan Gailey, right? Yes. He was still the one, with Tua as the starter. We knew that wasn't a match, et cetera, et cetera. So I go back to that previous game before when we played them at home, and we had X, but Jones got hurt, and we didn't really rely on Needham or see Needham as talented a player as we do now. So I feel like we had Iggy out there, and I think Needham was out there, but I don't know that he played as well. I just feel like we should stick to what we normally do, but I think we just need to do it a bit better. But when we blitz, man, we've got to get to them. We can't blitz 5 and 6 and 7 guys and not get to this guy. We are going to get crushed. So I think that'll be the key is just stick to what Miami does, even though it hasn't necessarily shown to be the best matchup because we're not a zone team. We've just got to get to them when we blitz, and those guys got to cover. I think we'll cover better than we did that last time. I think we really will. That's going to be the key, but we got to score on offense, man. We've got to score on offense because you're not going to completely stop Buffalo's offense.
All right. So next comment, we're going to go here back to Twitter here from Warrior Boss. I wish I could be optimistic, but I have seen this movie before. A win tomorrow would set us up great in the division, put the Bills 2 games behind us, and show that maybe this year is a little different. So I see us losing convincingly at home. Would love for them to prove me wrong. Okay, so basically he's saying that because this would be a really good thing for the Dolphins, it's not going to happen because this is the epitome of battered Dolphins fan syndrome. So
maybe that's what I have right here.
This is why we're here. We're taking the pulse. Okay, we need to prescribe some positivity pills here. We need to make it so that we can show all the good things the team has managed to do ever since last year. So I'm trying to we gotta cure this poor guy Warrior. This is a wounded warrior, so to speak. So I understand what he's feeling though. I really do. Like this whole concept of this would be really good for Miami, so obviously it's not going to happen. So I felt like that.
I feel that way all the time, man.
Yeah,
that's how I felt going into the game last week too.
Mm-hmm. That you expected New England to win because it's like, it's New England. Of course they're going to lose because it's New England. It's the same thing right now with Buffalo. It's like you assume it's a good thing, and so of course we're going to lose. But we can't let ourselves go down that road. We really, really, really can't. We really can't.
Miami fans have battered fan syndrome. That's just
yeah, we do.
That's bottom line. That's the problem. I have it too. I'm going to admit I have it too. I struggle every time we play these teams that beat us all the time. I just get down. I'm like Eeyore, man. I know we're not going to win this game.
We'll try to win,
but we
suck. Probably
we
won't.
Suck. Yeah, I know. I know. It's like it stinks. I hate having that mentality. It's just you get beat down by seeing the same thing happen over and over again, and you don't want to get your hopes up, so to speak. You know.
Okay. So we got to put some Pooh Bear positivity into this. Would you like a piece of honey instead?
No, don't. Never do that. Never do that again. we just lost our 4 viewers. It went down to 1. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, Brian Hull. I've been watching a lot of Brian Hull lately. He's a YouTuber. He does all these impressions. He went from just a YouTube voice actor to actually voicing Drac in the new movie Hotel Transylvania 4.
Well, we're gonna let Brian Hull do it then.
Okay.
We're gonna stick to talking about the fans.
Yes, I'll leave the voice acting to him, or at least the Pooh Bear voice acting. Anyway, okay, moving right along. All right. So from Graham, have to pressure Allen with just the front 4. Allen loves playing us, sadly, and have to try and copy the Pittsburgh blueprint. Got to get Gesicki involved too. Okay, so another one calling for Mike Gesicki to ball out. So again, I get it. I totally do. It just really boils down to how much confidence do they have in the Miami Dolphins offensive line to actually get this job done. Because as far as I know, we're going to have Austin Jackson back where he needs to be. He's going to be a left tackle again. Then they're going to have same thing. We're going to have left guard Solomon Kinley. Michael Dieter, I'm kind of surprised after looking at everything and after watching Alfredo and Chris Kaufman break it all down. Michael Dieter actually looks pretty good as a center. Like, I don't know what happened. I guess something finally clicked in him, and he's like, hold on. I remember I came from Wisconsin, dang it. I'm supposed to be good, so I'm going to be good.
Yeah, so. I think we might actually have something there. I really thought it was just because Matt Skura sucked. That's why Dieter was there, but Dieter actually, I mean,
I kept asking
we might have something there. So that's going to be very helpful. You know, Dieter and Hunt, I guess we feel like maybe we could rely on those guys. We're not sure about the rest of it yet. But Dieter and Hunt, maybe we can at least feel good about them.
If Dieter could become like a Tim Ruddy, if I remember correctly, and I'm not saying I even do. I don't even know if I do, because from what I've been told growing up from my father, who watched the Dolphins for many, many years while I was growing up, Tim Ruddy was never the best center Miami had, but he was solid.
He was very solid. I thought I remember Samson Satelli being fairly solid too.
I remember him too. I was like, dang, he's better than I thought he would be.
He was fairly solid too. He came in early in the Greer years with Dolphins. Not as Greer as
he did come back. He came back later.
Yeah, but Greer just is part of our college scouting. I think that was like one of his first years there. So I don't know how much influence he had on the pick, but those two definitely. And then obviously, you have Pouncey, but Pouncey was
I was going to say
he was a stud. Pouncey, that's a little different.
Pouncey. If Pouncey was probably the best center we've had since Dwight Stevenson.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say.
That's fair.
So
that's fair, but we'll see. I mean, we've got a couple guys that we think we might have found. Let's see. We don't even know, or at least I don't even know. Maybe you know, Lewis. Now that Austin Jackson's coming back, I assume they're going to put him to left tackle and just put Eichenberg to right tackle because the worst offensive lineman, or just pure play wise, this past week was Jesse Davis. So I wonder if they're going to go ahead and put Ike on the right, AJ on the left. Obviously we'll keep Kinley at left guard. I don't know if you've heard what the plan is.
I'm convinced from what we've heard, Austin Jackson is back at left tackle where he was before, like nothing had happened. So my guess is that it's going to be the offensive line we initially thought would it be in the first place. So Austin Jackson left tackle, Jesse Davis is at right tackle, and like Liam Eichenberg is riding the bench. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I thought Ike would go to right tackle.
I don't agree with I don't agree with it. I think at this point Eichenberg showed that, listen, I can do this job, just let me do it. But maybe they just wanted it was kind of an emergency situation for him. So I was surprised, honestly, that they didn't just move Jesse Davis to left tackle and let Eichenberg go to right tackle, which is where he's been training all preseason, except for like some left guard stuff. So that was the thing about it that shocked me. I had a feeling Eichenberg would move or would play, but I didn't think that they would go with the philosophy of they'll play the rookie at his college position as opposed to play the rookie where they've been training him all camp. So that's what shocked me.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. It seemed to work mostly. I mean, Eichenberg did pretty good at left tackle, but I don't know. I'm not sure what their plan is there. It's going to be interesting to see how they line up the offense. I was really anticipating them putting Ike at starting right tackle and letting Jesse be on the bench, but I don't know. I don't know. It seems like teams, and especially the Dolphins, because that's the team I follow really, is they always do things at offensive line I don't expect them to do. Put people in places I don't expect them to put them there, or draft a guy that you think is going to be this position and he ends up that. Remember last year, 2 years ago maybe, when we drafted Hunt, we were having the discussion. We were like, Hunt's, you were like, Hunt is going to play tackle. He's going to play tackle. And
he did for a while.
And Dante was like, no, he's going to play guard. He's a guard. He's not going to play tackle.
So honestly, we were both right for the time.
Kind of. Yeah, because you were right. He did go to tackle and play right tackle pretty well his whole rookie year.
And then he moved over to guard.
Yeah.
So we were both right and we were both wrong. I guess it depends on whether you want to see it half full or half empty.
Just never know. Like whatever I think they're going to do, they always just do something different. I really thought that the Dieter at center was like the worst move ever. I was like, oh my God, what are they doing? Are they trying to lose? What's going on here? It shows what I know.
Well, I always knew that Michael Dieter probably had more after watching him at guard. The first thing that came to my mind was we got to see him at center first before I give up on him, because as a guard he was like miserable. So, but apparently center is his true calling. So I'm not going to complain.
No, he's doing good, man. Let's just keep it going. I'll be quiet. I was way wrong on that.
All right, Martina Davies, preseason Tua needs to show up this week. In the fire of regular season competition, Tua slipped back into the last season's bad habits, and his mechanics were off again. I don't know if you necessarily agree with that.
He had a couple.
On what do you call bad throws? He had bad throws, but
he had a couple bad throws. That was it. I mean,
Mac Jones had a bad throw. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, well,
that's the thing. And Aaron Rodgers. By the way, can I bring up Aaron Rodgers? And how apparently utterly awful he looked last week.
It happens.
He got benched for Jordan Love. I wonder if that's going to cause any drama.
Did he actually get benched? I didn't pay attention.
I don't know if he got benched or
that game was happening while the Dolphins was happening, so I wasn't really.
I don't know if it was that he got benched or if it was like,
if it was just over.
This game is over. We just wash our hands of it. Let Jordan Love play.
Probably more of that, but
well, I'm sure he's going to play Aaron again this week. But
you know what? We talked about this last week, or last show, and we say it again. I don't have the stats in front of me, but if you go back and look to see what New England did against some of the better quarterbacks last year, in regards to their play, Tua fit right in there with what the other quarterbacks had done, and even more so on some of them against New England's defense. So let's see what this week plays. It's different matchups. I think Tua is going to look good in this. I anticipate Tua playing well in this game and the offense doing better than we expect. I don't know that it gets us the win, but I do anticipate that Tua Tua's going to have a good game. I think he's going to look a lot better in this game than he did last week, personally. Not facing a Bill Belichick defense or Steve Belichick defense, whatever we want to call it.
It doesn't matter. It's Bill. It's anybody other than Bill.
A Belichick defense there.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up Ishmael Barrera, basically saying 250 plus yards, 80% completion game. Let's get it. That'd be great for the team. Wouldn't do so good for my Thrive Fantasy, just saying. But anyway, it's like,
I mean, 80% completion would indicate to me that we were just taking a lot of really safe short throws, and that's not what Miami wants to do. All offseason, they want to be aggressive. They were aggressive in the New England game. I think they'll continue to be aggressive in this game as well. And I think that's going to bring down that completion percentage a little. It's just going to be lower sometimes because, Tua is making more aggressive throws.
So let me ask you this: was he as aggressive as the team wants him to be back in college? Because when I hear left-handed Drew Brees, I think, okay, Drew Brees, dissect the defense, not go for the big shot every 5 minutes. So what is he being told to be more or the same or less aggressive than he was in college?
Yeah, they want him aggressive. He was aggressive in college, but it's just a completely different. It's just a completely different situation with how wide open guys were sometimes. They want him to be aggressive. I think the whole offseason and camp proves that. They want him making throws downfield. They want him trying to get big chunk yards out of the offense. I mean, that's what they want him to do. That's what they're going to continuously try and do throughout the season. I don't see them all of a sudden withdrawing back and let's just dink and dunk it down the field. That's not going to be the way Miami plays offense, in my opinion.
All right. So Cap for Life says no more Wildcat.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked. I don't understand what the problem is.
You know why I was upset when I saw the Wildcat? This is why I personally was upset when I saw the Wildcat last week. Because I knew that at the time we had the opportunity to do it, and we did it because we had somebody who could actually throw the doggone football when Malcolm Perry was here. And then as soon as he leaves, here we go. We're going to actually do the Wildcat. Can Malcolm Brown throw the ball? Can Salman Ahmed throw the ball?
We don't know. That's the setup, right? They did some Wildcat. Nobody threw the ball, and that's the setup. I'm sure somewhere in there.
But it makes me mad, Ron, because at least when Malcolm Perry was here, we had a threat of throwing it. Now with Malcolm Brown and Ahmed and Gaskin, it's like, well, do you really think they're going to throw the ball? Do you really believe it?
Anytime we're in New England and we can remind them of the day, of that day, D-Day for them, that we destroyed them with a Wildcat, with just throwing in a tiny bit of Wildcat. And it worked. I mean, it worked. We got positive yards out of it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't want to see us become a Wildcat offense, but it gives the other team something they have to plan for as well. So now Buffalo sees, oh crap, we do have to spend a little bit of time. Time's limited during an NFL week, right? The more time you have to spend trying to plan for something a team's going to do, the less time you're spending on some of the things they're going to do more often. So I have no problem with it. I mean, if it got blown up and it was -3 yards every time, I'd say, yeah, you're right. Maybe that's not the play for us. But it was a successful try. The couple 2-3 times. What did they do? Like 2 or 3 times?
2 or 3 times. Couple with Malcolm Brown. One of them was Ahmed. That's again, Ron.
The Ahmed one was the most successful one, if I recall. Wasn't that like a good 8-yard run right up the middle?
Something like that. Well, Malcolm Brown pushed. That's what he did. That's what he was most noticeable, is that he was very much the anti-Jordan Howard. Like, he's a power back that can actually be a power back. So that's refreshing.
Yeah, I have no idea if either one of those guys can throw the ball, though. No clue.
Yeah, that's what bugged me about it. That was the only thing that bugged me, was that, now we're running Wildcat after the threat of throwing the football isn't really there.
Malcolm Perry will get cut by New England the next day or two, or next week or two, and we'll have him back. He'll be a Dolphin again, but by somewhere in October. Watch.
I hope you're right, because I would love to have that kind of threat available. All right, Martina Davies wants to bring up that some great analysis has been done on Tua's plays. He was okay, but his mechanics can be much, much better. He showed us this in preseason. I think the mechanics that they're talking about is just like decision-making and his accuracy, because there was at least one deep pass that he kind of threw it out of bounds. It wasn't the best throw he'd ever made. And the throwing the ball away stuff, was this a problem he had back at Alabama too? Like, he just refused to give up on a play?
Well, he wouldn't give up on plays, but they had so much better of a team that a lot of times it would work out.
But was there ever a moment when he was throwing the ball that you thought he should have thrown that one away instead of?
Well, there was always moments, but I don't know that any quarterback doesn't have those moments. Sometimes, there's always those moments. I was fine with the way Tua played, and he didn't look amazing. Most quarterbacks don't look amazing against a Belichick defense. I just think we have to kind of let's see it play out over the next month. 6 weeks, and we kind of just take it as come together as a whole. Yes, I know in the preseason he looked, quote unquote, looked better, but number one, it was preseason. They're not strategizing for him or game planning for him. And he was playing Atlanta and Chicago's defense. And I think we've seen in week one that perhaps those defenses aren't so great, especially Atlanta. So I mean, we just kind of have to take it for what it is there. Let's see over the next 5-6 weeks. We could just kind of take the whole thing and then we can say, okay, I think we know what Tua is this year or what he is right now, and decide whether we think he has mechanics issues or not.
And by the way, his ability to navigate the pocket, which by the way was very rarely even a pocket. So So Martina wants to bring up again. No, he twists on his throws instead of using his hips. He was falling back on deep throws.
Yeah, I didn't. That's not something that I noticed or really heard many people talk about.
Doesn't mean it's not true, but
it could be true. I don't know. I didn't go back and watch a bunch of all 22 tape on him. To be honest, I'm not.
You mean the all 22 that they don't want us to have because they took it off of?
As anybody knows from some of my previous tweets, I'm not an all 22 person. There's 25 other people that if you want a bunch of all 22 breakdown of mechanics, then I'm not your guy. It's not even. You can find other shows for that.
That's Alfredo's job. But I'm just thinking to myself, it's like they kept the all 22 from us. Like they randomly put it up there, so we know that it's there. They're just like.
I heard they just made a mess of it. Is what It's what some people commented. It was such a choppy mess that it was very hard to dissect. But
they did not.
I've never even done it before, so I don't know.
Ron, they had it. They put it up there. And then they pulled it, which means they have it. They just don't want us to have it.
Well, there you go.
That's the thing about it that bugs me about that. All right, so Simba of Sports next. Which wide receiver you guys think has a big game? So, which wide receiver of ours? I guess the only one that we can really go for, I would imagine, has to be Parker. I mean, if Miami's going to have any shot at moving this football now with Will Fuller out for who knows how long, with who knows what his situation is, Parker is going to have to step up and be the number one wide receiver again, whether it's a jump ball or whether it's one of those slants or what. So I think that if Miami's going to have any hope, it's going to have to be Parker, unless you consider Mike Gesicki a wide receiver and not a tight end.
I have Buffalo focusing heavy on Parker, and I think Waddle goes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
Roll Tide, baby.
Okay.
Tide connection right there.
All right, so basically you're saying that Waddle's going to be the superstar that week.
Yes, I do, because I think they're going to. I think they won't have all the focus on him, especially in being a rookie. I was actually surprised how much he played week one. I thought we'd see a lot more Wilson.
I told you that
they put Waddle right. They put him right out there. Now I'm sure because we thought we were going to have Fuller, it would have been a different story. But with them now having to kind of scramble a bit, I guess, on their game plan, I'm assuming. I think that they're just going to try and use that speed and quickness of Waddle as much as possible, thinking that they're probably not going to focus on Waddle as much as Parker and Gesicki. That's my guess, but you never know how it's going to go in the games. But I think Waddle's going to have a big game.
So at least Lil Mick seems to agree with you. Y'all don't know how good Waddle is.
Oh, I know. He would Trust me. I know how good Waddle is. It's only a second week rookie. So I've been trying. I tried not to have. I kept saying going in the season, hey, he's a rookie. Let's chill out. Give it some time. But I don't.
I told you they were going to throw. They
started throwing him right out there. And I think he's going to have a big game. He had a couple little bumps. He'll figure it out quick. He's really talented. It's like super talented. I think he was the number one receiver of that bunch. I know some might disagree. Obviously, there's Chase or Smith. That's a good threesome of wide receivers right there. I mean, they all had a good first week. Heck, Chase caught 100 yards and a touchdown. I know Smith, I don't know how many yards he caught, but he caught a touchdown. I think he had a decent week. Waddle, what was it, 5 or 6? Or was it like 60 yards and a touchdown? I think Waddle's where it's going to be at. I think Waddle, now that they maybe don't have Fuller, they're gonna say, okay, Waddle, you're our Fuller now, man. We're gonna use your speed. We're gonna game plan around your speed and get it open for you. And I think Tua will have no issue with that.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to the Twitters. This one is very simple. This is from Dre. We have to run the ball.
I agree. I 100% agree. We have to run the ball. We have to have success. What made me mad is the drives we had the most success in against New England, we were running the ball, and we ran the ball fairly well. But when we all of a sudden went back and started trying to throw every time, those were the drives that would peter out. I just think we need to run the ball a lot more than we did against New England. And plus, obviously, the obvious thing is when you run the ball, it keeps Buffalo off the field. We can't have a time of possession lopsided time of possession in favor of Buffalo like we did against New England and win this game. We'll get slaughtered if that happens. So they definitely need to run the ball and keep that time of possession 50-50 at worst.
Who do you think is going to be the guy that you look to that week? Do you think they're going to stick with Gaskin, or do you think it's Salvon Ahmed?
No, Gaskin all day. Ahmed is going to he's there for, to get in there and catch some passes, and they'll run him some just to keep it honest, so that
it just
the other team
like
doesn't think that every time Ahmed's in there, they're not running the ball, because we don't ever, put in 2 running backs at one time that I've seen. But I think it'll be Gaskin all day. He's got the talent for it, because he can catch, he can run. No, he cannot line up as a left tackle and block a lineman. Who was it? What's that guy's name? For New England, he just rolled over him, but they tried to line up Gaskin like he was like a left tackle or something. I mean, no, he does not have that skill. Most running backs don't, but he can definitely catch, and he can definitely run. So I think it'll be Gaskin.
All right, so Cap for Life wants to say, you guys want Jakeem Grant, you got him. Let's see how that works. Grant is not here to be a primary wide receiver, and I'm okay with that.
He doesn't need to be anymore.
And I'm okay with that. I want Jakeem Grant to be involved just because I know that he can do some stuff. Like if I want Jakeem Grant on the field, it's because we're gonna do some kind of reverse jet stuff, and you have Waddle coming one way, Grant going the other. There's some reverse wildcat for you there. It's like, who's getting the ball? Who do you chase? Do you chase this guy or do you chase that guy? So that's what I would like to do if we're gonna have Grant on the field.
Maybe we can have another Wilson Grant high five. Walk to the end zone touchdown.
Exactly.
But we'll have it with Waddle and Wilson or something like that. Maybe we'll have it with Grant too. We have Grant and Wilson. We'll bring it back, kind of old school.
All right, so
4 years ago.
I know that you're gonna have to get going soon, but I want to just bring this one last thing up. This is from Rush Music in the chat. I'll let you address it. Basically saying Tua is a right hand dominant guy who throws with his left hand. It's a mechanic's nightmare. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he's thrown with his left hand his whole life. He does everything right-handed except for throw the football. So I don't know why that is, but
did you ever see him throw with his right hand, like in anything?
I've never seen it, but I kind of expecting it to happen one day. I've never seen him do it before, though, that I recall. Anyway, I don't recall him ever throwing with his right hand, but I guess he could probably do it just to see. I mean, as good as he is with his right hand with other stuff, considering he is right-handed, I think he could do it.
So, okay. Can you break this down for us? Like, what? I know there's a story here, and I've heard it a few times, but just break it down for everybody else. Why does Tua do this left-handed?
It's something to do with, I think it was his dad or his uncle or something. Yeah, it was just something like that. Like they taught him to throw left-handed as like a young boy. So he taught him to throw left-handed. That's it. That's all I know. But he's a right-handed person. Plays guitar right-handed, or the banjo or whatever it is. Ukulele, sorry. The banjo, that would be more like if he was from Oklahoma, not from Hawaii, sorry. He plays the ukulele right-handed. He does everything right-handed, but throw the ball. I don't know all of a sudden why we're getting all these mechanics. Somebody out there must have done some all 22 work, and now everybody's copying someone else's all 22 work that supposedly Tua has bad mechanics. No,
yes, Martina brought up the person in question. So apparently it's Curtis on Ace per Head Studios. I'll take a look at it just out of curiosity.
Good for Curtis.
I'll take a look. Listen, I'm up for learning from anybody. I'll take a look at it just to take a look and see what they're talking about, and I'll cross-reference it with some other folks that I trust. So you never know. There's always something to learn. I've always believed that no matter who you are, there's something that you can learn from everybody. So, like, I've learned things from you, Ron. I don't know if you've ever learned anything from me, but I'm not gonna. I've
learned stuff from you. I've learned you can't do voice impersonations.
Okay, but that's not a thing that you've had to apply. It's just listen. If you've ever heard me do Marvin the Martian, then I have. Know that, like,
don't do it. Don't do it.
You see, you're tempting me now. You're tempting me.
No Marvin the Martian.
Okay, there's one voice I know I can do, and I'm doing him right now, even as we speak, without even having to try. But I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to go too deep into my nerdisms right now.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Anyway, so. I'm going to go ahead and I know Cap is screaming for Manny, but listen, Cap Manny is busy. He's the fact that he's even here is a miracle because this dude is busting his tail with whatever it is that he's doing over there. And yet somehow he still manages to be listening in on what we're doing here as a producer. So for that, I am very grateful. He takes a lot of pressure off of us whenever he does do the producing. So I'm, again, very grateful to him for being here. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if there's anything else. We got to do some game predictions here. So Manny needs a fantasy football segment. If he's better at it, then by all means, maybe there you go. Maybe there's something I can learn from Manny. He can teach me how to choose my Thrive Fantasy picks better. So go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and do right here. We're going to get ready for our predictions. So what do you ultimately think happens tomorrow, Ron?
I think it'll be Buffalo 28, Miami 24.
All right. And who do you think balls out or fails in that case? Like who do you think is going to come up short? Who do you think may come up big?
I mean, I just think that Josh Allen will be just proved to be a bit too much for us again, and that we just won't quite have the offense to make it happen, to catch up, if you will.
Oh, hold on. I see a wild Manny here. I'm just going to, I don't know.
Yeah, is Manny at least going to give us a prediction?
Listen, Buffalo was 1 for 4 in the red zone. They had a punt block return for a score. Defense actually played quite well against Ben Roethlisberger and this offense. I mean, I understand the hype of last week's win, but let's be realistic here. The defense of Buffalo is not the issue. It's the offense. Will they have back-to-back weeks where they stumble like that in the red zone? I don't think so, because to me they have weapons on the outside. Now the Dolphins can counter that with
we're a really good red zone defense. We're very good when it starts to tighten down. That's where Miami makes their money.
So where fans are saying, well, we got to run the ball to win, I think Buffalo has to do exactly the same. Not to mention Josh Allen, and the man can actually, with one stride, he'll gain 5 yards if he's not hit.
He's more Lamar Jackson than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. He's Lamar Jackson, but can throw the ball even better.
I still think Buffalo wins close.
Well, that's what I have.
Rain, to me, seeing winning. Also rain in the forecast, even though my Apple weather app can be completely wrong, like it's been before already, I still see Buffalo somehow, winning 28-24 or something like that. Unless there's Tua Waddle magic, like Ron. Actually,
I think there'll still be some Tua Waddle magic. I just don't know if it's gonna be enough. That's my thought. So Manny feels like I feel 28-24 Buffalo. What about you there, Lewis?
All right, I'm actually gonna go with the idea that it's gonna be another scrapper. I'm gonna say that, but you know what? At home, it's the home opener, and it's everybody coming together. The only one that's missing really is Will Fuller. It's a much different offense than what we saw last year.
Can I say that everybody says Will Fuller is missing? We never had Will Fuller. Will Fuller's never played a preseason snap, a regular season snap. He was there like 5 practices. I mean, I hope everything is okay with Will Fuller and everything he's going through. Get better, take care of yourself, take care of your mentals or your family or whatever it is that's going on. We never had Will Fuller. We got 5 or 6 good receivers. We got Gesicki, we got Ahmed, we got Gaskin. That's the guys I'm worried about. I'm just sorry. There's so much Fuller talk about, oh my God, what are we going to do without him? What we've done every single other game in the history of this franchise, because he's never played a snap for us. That's what we're going to do without him. So continue on. Sorry.
I sense some hostility there.
Yeah, I'm just over it. I'm just over it. This guy has never. I mean, he was an unreliable person that we brought on anyway. You know what I mean? It was just, and not that has anything to do with this because that was all health stuff, but. It's we never had Fuller. We're not missing him because we never had him. We got a really good wide receiving core. In my opinion,
I remember when we initially signed Will Fuller, and I came on shows and I basically said this will shut everybody up. Finally, we got the big name. We got the thing that everybody wanted. Because I remember we were signing Cethan Carter. We were signing this
Pilardi,
other guy, Michael Pilardi.
I remember the first 2 days I made the joke that we had punted on free agency.
And everybody
because all we had done is sign Pilardi.
Everybody was pissed off. Where is our big splash signing?
Yeah, we wanted.
Here comes Will Fuller, and I'm like, everybody be quiet now. And now, lo and behold, it's like,
yeah, but here's the thing that everyone's forgetting. Everybody's like, oh, we've always had Parker. No, when we have a healthy Parker, that is a whole different world than having the Parker we saw last year. Man, when you have a healthy Devontae Parker, you have a top 10 wide receiver, period. You have a guy who is very hard to defend. Yeah, like a top 10 in the NFL wide receiver. When he is extremely hard to stop. When this guy is healthy. When he has no physical limitations, this guy is hard to stop. We did not have that last year. We also have Wilson back, and we have Waddle that we didn't have. I think we just have to remember this is still a transformed wide receiving core without Fuller.
I love Parker when he's on, Ron, but I don't know if I can go top 10 in the league, man.
He was mossing the supposed number one cornerback in the NFL when he was healthy. I mean, making him look stupid. Not a lot of wide receivers can do that.
No, not a lot of wide receivers can do that. But you know what? Amari Cooper was making Xavier Howard look pretty dumb last year. So I mean,
I just think
is he also a top 10 wide receiver?
No, but he is from Alabama. But
yeah, that makes the difference.
That does. It totally makes a difference. But I just think that our wide receiving core is good, and this is a different wide receiving core, even compared to week 2 last year when we played Buffalo. This is a completely different wide receiver core. It's a different Tua. It's a different offense. It's an offense geared towards him. It's still different on offense. I just feel like if we are going to pull this upset off, that is where we're going to do it. It's on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know that we're going to do it because I feel like Allen always has our number, but I know that I don't have Miami winning. But if we're going to win, we're going to win it with offense.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make my prediction, and then we'll call it here. I predict that Miami will win this game, but I think it's going to be to a score of like 21-20 because I think it's going to be another. I think it's going to be another scrapper. I think it's going to be a low scoring. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think that Miami continues their turnover streak, number one, and I really believe that.
Hopefully.
I really believe that home opener. Everybody's all hyped up. Everybody's getting ready for. They just came off a New England win. I think that this team is better at continuing momentum than in years past because usually in the Dolphins teams that we're used to, after a big win, they'd completely lay an egg. So, but that was before Flores showed up and instilled this brand new philosophy. So I truly believe that they can actually get this job done. So I'm thinking that Miami somehow pulls it off.
Any win, and this is just my thought process, any kind of win we pull off in any way against Buffalo, we're 2-0, they're 0-2. New England will probably be 1-1, but we'll have a win on them. You have to start thinking that Miami is a Super Bowl contender. I just don't know how you don't. If Miami wins this game, and it's not just 2-0, it's 2-0 with 2 division wins against 2 very good division teams, including a team that Brian Flores has never beat. I mean, it would be huge. Any way we could pull off a win, to me, it would be huge. I just don't see, because our schedule just starts getting, actually, after this game, we have the number one easiest, and I know it's going off last year's win totals, so, take it for what it's worth, but our strength of schedule is number 32 or number 1, however you want to call it, coming after this week. I mean, we have, if we're good enough to go into New England and scrap to get the win, and then we can get this win against Buffalo, man, we're going to have a really good record. You got to start thinking about, probably not the number 1 seed, but the number 2 seed. You really do. And I think Alf said that too on 3 yards per carry. And I have to agree. I just think that it would mean so much to get this win. which is why as a Dolphins fan, I just can't get myself to predict it.
I cannot say number one. I cannot go with number one seed.
No, not number one seed because of Kansas City.
Not with Kansas City. Yeah, I was about to say. There's no way in a world
number
where
2
Kansas
seed,
City
which at
exists.
least gives you home field advantage. I mean, I just think that Miami should be considered a Super Bowl contender if they come out of this game with a victory, regardless of however they scrap to do it. Except maybe Josh Allen gets hurt in like the first minute or something, and even Barkley destroyed us last year in the second half of Week 17. But
Miami struggles against quarterbacks that are backups. They struggle against backup quarterbacks. I've noticed that, and even more so with third stringers. Thad Lewis, jeez, I still have flashbacks to that nightmare twice he did that to us.
Yeah, man, we haven't had the best luck against Buffalo in general the past 5-6 years, whatever.
All right. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back to react to everything after it is all said and done. So with all that said, thank you once again for joining us. And thank you once again to Thrive Fantasy for sponsoring this video. If you haven't already made a deposit, you should do so now. Your first deposit, you can match up to $100 on it, and they'll even get a free ticket to their $50,000 contest. So who knows, you may actually win some good stuff there. Anywho, with all that said, good night, folks.
Good night.